This story dates back to the old times of YouTube, right? The olden days. Leafy is here is on top. He's at his peak. Pyrocynical is saying the N-word in videos. Keemstar is one of the biggest drama channels of all time. Now picture this. It's 2015. Minecraft is one of the biggest, if not the biggest thing on YouTube at the time, with creators like Stampy Longhead and Sky Desert Minecraft accumulating millions of views on their respective videos. LEMMiNO was not an exception to this, garnering millions of views on his own videos. Now, there's no secret that these channels were almost exclusively viewed by children, and for anyone else, this would not have been a problem, is what I would have liked to say, but as time has passed, we've realized that a lot of these Minecraft YouTubers are kind of fucking degenerate. It's a trope at this point. You know, Minecraft YouTuber equals PDF files. And unfortunately for Marcos Wilton, better known as LEMMiNO Studios, this was the case. So on September 15th of 2015, just a few weeks after LEMMiNO reached the coveted 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, which was a really big deal in 2015, right? One of the biggest drama channels on YouTube, Keemstar, would post a video interviewing a mother. Now, this mother had a daughter who claimed she was sent DMs from a very popular YouTuber at the time, asking her for nudes and to move their conversations to Skype.
What is your reaction at that? I mean, it's a 27-year-old man asking your 13-year-old daughter for nudes.
Well, at this point in time, I didn't know he was 27 or 26 or whatever age he's supposed to be. I had no idea who was asking my 13-year-old daughter for nudes.
Before he asked your daughter for nudes, did he know how old your daughter was?
Absolutely, absolutely. You must bear in mind she is only a 13-year-old child, and you must watch what you say to her.
That's just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, you as a parent, it seems like you did everything right. You know, you talk to him, you let him know that this is your daughter's a young child, she's 13, and still he would go and do that. It's absolutely shocking.
This YouTuber would in fact be LEMMiNO Studios. Now, at this time, there wasn't too much evidence against LEMMiNO, especially with this whole hacker narrative that was going around.
Next, it was kind of, we believed it wasn't him and he was hacked, but then the proof came forward that he wasn't hacked.
Basically, LEMMiNO defended himself by saying he was hacked and there was a hacker. This hacker narrative didn't make sense to anyone, especially to a YouTuber named Colossal is Crazy. Now, remember that name, Colossal is Crazy, because he becomes kind of like the hero of this entire story. But first, let's go over what exactly happened, because it gets pretty wild. LEMMiNO would eventually reach out to another YouTuber by the name of Paige the Panda, a very small YouTuber at the time. They would do a bunch of collabs on LEMMiNO's channel, and they'd become really close, often hanging out in very long Skype calls together. Now, sometimes these calls were, alone, and other times they were with other creators, other Minecraft creators, LEMMiNO fans, and people who were just in the Minecraft community at the time. Later, it would be reported by those present in these Skype calls how strange the interaction between LEMMiNO and Paige the Panda, how strange it got. There was a lot of flirting and weird talking and shit like that. It was just weird. A general sense of discomfort by people present. Now, why are people feeling so, uncomfortable? Well, it's important to note that at the time, Paige the Panda was only 15 years old, while LEMMiNO was well into adulthood. Now, after the Keemstar interview, there were more allegations levied at LEMMiNO. There was one case where LEMMiNO was trying to coerce a 15-year-old boy into sending explicit photos of himself. And then there was another case with another 15-year-old boy by the name of Steven Chinks, where LEMMiNO sent him $500, and if I remember this correctly, using the official LEMMiNO Studios PayPal to send him money for explicit photos of himself. So after all this coming out, Keemstar would make a video basically addressing LEMMiNO directly, telling him regardless of anything that he should probably just leave the Minecraft community. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this, because if it was just false allegations or whatever, you should fight it, right? But dude, he was dead to rights. There was no false allegations to be found. It was as clear as day. LEMMiNO should have left the community ASAP. Keemstar was fucking right in this case. For whatever reason, this whole thing would drive LionMaker to absolute insanity, making LionMaker go off the deep end. At this time, LionMaker would make two very important and major tweets that would change his life forever. One tweet seemingly in response to Keemstar saying, "I have fooled all of you and I've made plenty of money while I was doing it. Keemstar was right all along. I'm a pervert and I should just kill myself." And the second tweet saying, "Since Paige the Panda was 15, her and I have had many sexual experiences on Skype." Which, to call this out of left field would be an understatement. At the very least, LionMaker seemed pretty composed and tamed when it came to being a YouTuber and, saying shit. But this was a complete 180. However, it pales in comparison to his next act of absolute insanity. Oh my God. He posts a picture of Paige the Panda's hole on Twitter, uncensored, for the entire world to see, stating, "This is what Paige the Panda looks like." And immediately after tweeting this, saying, "One retweet and I'll share more of @Paige the Panda's photos." Basically saying that he had more photos to share, explicit photos of this 15-year-old girl on Twitter. The guy's accused of being a PDF file, so he goes absolutely mask off and posts a picture of his victims. Shortly after this, LionMaker would delete all of these tweets. I wonder why. Saying that he was hacked. Yeah. A few months after this, we get something that's pretty iconic to LionMaker at this point. The infamous Dear Friends video. This is basically a slam poetry session where he addresses, well, someone, we don't really know who, claiming that they betrayed him in some way. My guess is that this was directed to either his audience or Paige the Panda herself, which would make this absolutely devious. I don't know. We don't really know. In this video, he acts like some sort of martyr, like he was thrown under the bus by this mysterious third party, or maybe the whole entire internet. It's not clear. It really isn't clear who the fuck he's talking to in this video.
Dear friend, do you remember when everyone outcasted you? Do you remember when people wanted nothing to do with you? Dear friend, in the midst of everything, I tried as hard as I could to be there. Dear friend, I went so far to help you. The late nights, I used to talk to you. Dear friend, do you remember the people I used to stand up to? Dear friend, do you remember the times we said we'd never give up on each other? Dear friend, do you remember the time where I stood in front of others and said you were a good person? Dear friend, they wanted nothing to do with you. Dear friend, do you remember when I made myself the fool by telling people they could trust you? Where are you?
He made a few more videos after this. However, the Dear Friends video was, by his own words, a poetic farewell for good. Now, at this point, someone we mentioned earlier would take notice of this insane video. The infamous Colossal is crazy. Colossal would make a video going over the entire LionMaker situation, essentially making a hit piece on the guy. LionMaker would request an interview with Colossal. LionMaker really wanted this interview. He wanted to prove that he was innocent, and ended up making himself look even more guilty.
Well, I'm 28, same age as you. Is that fucked up? It's a very, very simple question. You only have to answer yes or no.
I don't, Colossal, because
I find it interesting that you're dodging that question when it's a very simple
I'm not
question.
dodging the question.
I don't think you can answer it. I think your moral compass is completely fucked and you can't answer it. That's what I think. You physically cannot answer that question.
Colossal also made the connection that the photos that were posted on Twitter, man, how do I say this? The butthole photos? He made the connection that those photos had the identical background of LEMMiNO's desktop, right? Even down to the exact widgets. Basically implying that if it wasn't LEMMiNO who posted these photos, it was at least someone who had access to his desktop or someone who had the forethought to completely fake these in the most intricate way possible.
That is something that I cannot say. I do not know. It's impossible for me to start pointing fingers at someone and saying...
Speculate. Theorize.
No, I can't. Because I'm not like this. This is not what I do. Like, for example, the whole background
it's not
thing.
difficult. It's not a difficult one.
Look, you're asking me questions that it's not up to me to
It's a fairly simple question. She must have known
It's not up
this
to
picture
me
was
to
being
answer.
taken of
It's
her. She
not
was
up to me
posing
to
for
answer
it.
those questions because...
Well, I'm sorry,
that
but
has-
it is. I'm sorry, but it is because it was on your Twitter account and this is what you're being accused of. So you are asked to answer this question.
Look, if you
Here are
guys
the
think,
facts.
if
Here
you
are-
guys
sorry, can I
honestly
just finish
think...
this? Can I just finish this sentence?
If you guys
Let-
honestly think... Please let me finish my...
All right.
Going
You finish.
with what you said. If you guys honestly think that Twitter, after that happened, did not take the necessary measures because that was an intense situation. Twitter banned my Twitter for indefinite. I even tried twice to get an appeal. It didn't work. And what do you think Twitter does immediately after they see something like that? They contact the police. They
we're gonna get
they
into- we're
took
gonna get
Paige
into
DePanda's
that a bit, but
computer
I
and
can't-
phone. They took Paige DePanda's computer and phone.
Can I just clarify? You can answer this question clearly because Paige the Panda was posing in this picture. So she must have known, if she didn't take it herself, that someone was taking this picture. So therefore, you kind of fucking know who was taking the picture.
Well, like I said,
Am I
no.
Is
That's
it
a
kind of-
twisted. That's a twisted question because, like
It's-
I
it's
already
not. It's a
said,
very,
no, I
very,
already
very
answered your
good
question.
actually,
I already
because-
answered your question
Who took the
because
picture then?
initially I said, and I specifically said, and people can rewind if they want. I said at the time, Paige the Panda was in a relationship. So to answer your question,
That's what I wanted
it was
to hear.
probably
That is what I
very
wanted to hear.
likely.
So it was her boyfriend that you're saying took this picture.
Probably very likely, yes.
What do you mean probably very likely? She was posing for the camera, so it must have been her boyfriend or herself. I mean, it's kind of obvious, right? So
Yes,
let's
Colossal.
say-
No, you're right. That is very obvious, but I don't see your
Right.
point though, because again, that has nothing to do
No,
with
well,
me.
we've just clarified that you're saying that it was the boyfriend that took this picture. That's what I wanted to hear from you. The boyfriend took this picture of Paige the Panda posing nude. Okay? So this boyfriend, how old is the boyfriend, by the way?
The boy that she was with at the time, they were similar
Right.
age. They were similar age.
So 16. Okay, 16, 17. All right. So he takes this picture. Somehow, he gets a hold of your computer and posts this on your Twitter. Now, can we clarify that it was indeed from your computer and not just your Twitter?
No, because you're
We
assuming.
can, because there was a background. The same background on
Which
your
I
Twitter.
still,
you know
which
the
I
story,
still
right?
have, which I still have.
You still have the
Colossal,
background.
Which I
Okay.
still have, which is still exactly the same. I've seen the stupid pictures where they compare a background that I posted,
Well,
and,
well,
and
how
I'm,
do you-
and
how
I'm
do you
glad, and I'm
dispute
glad
that
that
one?
people did that. I'm glad people did that because that steps on my point. And I'm sure you also very often take pictures, screenshots of your computer and share them with people.
So you are insinuating that this boyfriend, fucking genius, mastermind, Machiavellian genius, actually thought to make it look like you were doing this, actually had the human brain capacity.
Why
to
would
get
you need
your
a human
background
brain?
in the
Why would you
picture.
need a human
It's
brain
fucking,
to come
well,
up?
It's a very, very clever move.
Considering the position, considering the
theorize,
position
to see,
that I was
see the
already
future,
in.
that he was okay, but to see the future in the fact that two people will match the two backgrounds together is a crazy move. One that's quite genius.
He also tries to play the hero in this situation. LEMMiNO tries to make it seem that Colossal is the one being like disrespectful to Paige the Panda.
There's a picture posted of Paige the Panda on your Twitter account. Now, at the time, you said you were hacked. Do you still stand by this or not?
I really would appreciate. I understand that, you know, for your channel, but please do not.
This isn't for my channel. This is a fact.
I understand that.
A
But please-
16-year-old girl's
but
was posted on your Twitter.
But
you want me to dial down the words?
No, it's not that. It's disrespecting. It's disrespecting a young girl that's already been through enough.
But these are the facts. You want me to say
no?
rectum
You're focusing the whole thing.
term?
You're focusing the whole thing around a teenage girl. It's not.
Do you
what
deny
happened.
that a picture of this girl, Paige the Pandas, what should we call it? What do we call this? A rectum was posted on your Twitter account. Let's just state it out how it is. That is a fact.
No, I do not deny that. I do not deny that.
Now, due to this interview, this is where a lot of larger YouTubers kind of picked up on the story, right? This is really where the teeth catch in this whole situation. He lost his main channel in 2018 over it, and then he made a new one, which was very short-lived since the same year he went to court, pled guilty to all accounts of R-word, sexual assault, and the possession/distribution of child. Now, these charges were brought against him by Paige the Panda herself, and he was reported to YouTube after creating a second YouTube channel where he tried to restart his Minecraft career. That got taken down, and he moved to Instagram, still just trying to cling on to any remnant of an audience he had left, any kind of internet presence he could have. This guy really, needed to be on YouTube. He needed to be seen. He was kind of narcissistic, honestly. Now, on Instagram, LEMMiNO mainly went live, where he basically got drunk and yelled at his child audience and anyone who was watching, with the occasional threat of beating the shit out of everyone and starting to kill people.
I'm the washed up nigga you watching, Red Line. Like, what the fuck? Reading how sad others are. Like, get a fucking life, yo. Get a fucking life. I killed myself for you. I am dead inside because of you. I'm gonna start some people, I tell you. I'm gonna start fucking beating the shit out of people.
His Instagram too would get taken down because you can't just go around threatening to kill people on Instagram. Instagram nowadays is a fucking Wild West, but back then it was a little bit more tame, so you couldn't just do that. And he got that struck down too. All of this eventually leads us to the title of this video. How the fuck did LEMMiNO get away with all this? This guy solicited a 15-year-old for explicit photos. He posted the uncensored photo of a 16-year-old girl on Twitter. He started an Instagram where he yelled at people, cursed people out, and threatened to kill them, pleading guilty to R-word charges, sexual distribution of CP, and he's still not in jail to this day. This all basically boils down to the failure of the Belgian legal system. LEMMiNO was sentenced to only 10 months of probation for all of this. And his case was even postponed for 5 years. Now, this means that if he committed any of these crimes again within that 5-year period, he'd be looking at almost 10 years in prison, which in my opinion, he should have just gotten straight off the bat. I mean, just the distribution of CP alone should have gotten him that, but bro, I'm not Belgium. I don't make the rules. Now, after all this, he would lay low for a while, right? We wouldn't hear anything about LEMMiNO for quite a few years. That leads us to the big question, right? Where is LEMMiNO? Is he in prison now? Is he dead? Well, he's certainly on Reddit of all places, meaning he's still out there in the wild, like a true lion, making his way to his next child victim, trying his absolute damnedest to get someone to feel sorry for him. So he would make his way to the H3 subreddit. Now, before these people knew that he was LEMMiNO, people were saying that this account that ended up being LEMMiNO was talking to them very creepy-like and was just being weird in general. Someone in the Reddit would actually make a video of them interviewing LEMMiNO. Pretty much, LEMMiNO wanted to get his story out in the Reddit. He was looking for a community and someone to pretty much accept him.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
So I got charged with that. And then I got
Exploitation.
I got 5 years probation.
Oh, and also, for some reason, he decides to like kind of pivot from this to explain that he's actually gay or something.
I don't know if this is gonna help, but I'm actually gay. Like, I actually prefer to be with a guy.
Like, it's literally the Kevin Spacey defense.
At the end of the day, it's hard to say if he truly got away with it. I mean, this guy's whole life is pretty much ruined. Anywhere he goes, he's going to be known as LEMMiNO. As long as he stays anonymous, he'll be fine, which is probably the worst part about this whole situation. But even when he's anonymous, he's a fucking creep. I mean, dude, this guy is ruined for life, hopefully. And even though the Belgian law system failed us, by God, commentary YouTubers like Colossal is Crazy did not fail us, because in the public eye, this guy will never amount to anything ever. And I think that's the cherry on top of this horrific story, that no matter where LEMMiNO goes, he will not find a friend.
The thought of it makes me fucking sad. Setting up for your photographs.